Please join me for a moment of silence before our invocation. This invocation is adapted from an invocation used at Wheaton College in Norton, Massachusetts. Spirit of good endings and better beginnings, as we gather here to celebrate the remarkable journey we have shared with the class of 2013, we are acutely aware of our blessings, the privilege of teaching and learning in this place, the freedom to challenge ourselves and each other, the courage to step out of our comfort zones and risk the big questions, the questions of meaning, of relationship, and of responsibility. But most of all, we're grateful for the blessings of community, of friends, family, and the extended Chesapeake College community gathered here, and for those who are with us also only in spirit. There is no book that can teach us what we have learned from each other, especially from those whose experience and perspective differ dramatically from our own. Community, diversity, freedom, and risk-taking, these are the hallmarks of a truly higher education.
Please be seated. Welcome to the 45th commencement exercises of Chesapeake College. Thank you, Vera, for delivering the invocation, and thank you to the Chesapeake Bay Community Band under the leadership of Mr. Fred Hughes for providing the music. It is now my pleasure to introduce the platform party. I would ask that they stand as they are introduced and that you hold your applause until everyone has been recognized. Platform party from my right, starting with the back row, Mr. Vaughn Evans, Dorchester County Trustee. Mr. Don W. Bradley, Vice Chair of the Board and Dorchester County Trustee. Ms. Jennifer Durgee, Queen Anne's County Trustee. Ms. Blenda Armistead, Talbot County Trustee. Mr. Thomas Gross, Jr., Kent County Trustee. Mr. Matthew Hogans, Kent County Trustee. Mr. Nash McMahon, Caroline County Trustee. Mrs. Margaret Myers, Caroline County Trustee. And the stage party from my right in the front row, Dr. Richard Midcap, Vice President for Student Success and Enrollment Services. Mr. Douglas Gray, Vice President for Technology and Academic Support. Dr. Barbara Houchin, Acting Vice President for Administrative Services. Dr. Catherine Barber, Vice President for Academic Affairs. Mr. Peter Franchot, Controller of the State of Maryland. Ms. Catherine Poe, Chair of the Board and Talbot County Trustee. Mr. John Haas, Chair of the Faculty Assembly, and Ms. Haley Morgan, the John T. Harrison Award winner. Please join me in acknowledging them. I would like to introduce two of our county commissioners, Commissioner Larry Porter from Caroline County and Commissioner William Pickram from Kent County. Thank you for joining us. And if there are others who have managed to escape my notice, thank you for your support. Graduates, this is your night. But without the love, patience, and encouragement of the family and friends who have gathered here to celebrate with you, your achievements would not be possible. Graduates, please join me in a round of applause for your special guests. This evening is also made possible by a faculty, administration, and staff dedicated to student success. I had the occasion to attend the Washington College commencement on Sunday, and the speaker talked about a Chinese saying, "When you drink the water, remember who dug the well." And there are many well diggers who are not here tonight, the groundskeepers who made this campus beautiful for your special guests and all the time, so you have a special environment in which to learn, the clerical staff who entered your names so that in fact you get a diploma. So please join me in acknowledging the outstanding faculty and staff at Chesapeake College. I would now like to introduce a Chesapeake College graduate and incoming president of the Chesapeake College Alumni and Friends Association, Ms. Laura Shahan, who has greetings from the Chesapeake College alumni.
Thank you, Dr. Vineyard. Good evening, graduates. First, I want to welcome you to the Chesapeake College alumni family. By receiving your degree today, you are now an official post-secondary education. That is something we're celebrating. We are very proud of you and pleased to welcome you into our Alumni Association. Our graduates are actively involved in the business community, healthcare administration, and other professions throughout the 5-county region and beyond. Many graduates have gone on to receive their bachelor's and master's degree, as well as their doctorates. Some graduates have even attended the most prestigious institutions of higher education in the world, including Ivy League universities. Some graduates have also become ranking members of the Maryland State Government, the Maryland State Police, and other institutions of note. We are proud of the reputation of excellence that we have maintained at Chesapeake College, and we look forward to adding your name to our notable alumni list. As a financial aid specialist here at Chesapeake College, I have the opportunity to award incoming freshmen and returning students over $300,000 a year in scholarship aid, in many thanks to donations of our scholarship fund. Therefore, as the president of the Chesapeake College Alumni and Friends Association, I ask you to pay it forward. Today, we have given you an automatic membership into the Alumni and Friends Association. We are constantly developing resources that are designed solely to assist you in your personal development. So please keep in touch with us. We are excited to have you join our family and hope that you will keep us informed of your achievements and successes, your victories and your triumphs. We are incredibly proud of you and look forward to seeing you and where your journey will lead you after graduation. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And I would like to add my request to Laura's. We live in an age when it is possible to connect to thousands of people instantaneously. I'm betting there are a lot of cell phones in your pockets, and you can, with one click, connect. But most of these connections are casual, even superficial, which is all the more reason to treasure the connections it takes time to build, the connections that are deep and enduring. And those are the kinds of connections I know you have made here, to friends, to faculty, and even to me, for which I am both grateful and proud. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you tonight's commencement speaker. Peter Franchot was elected as Maryland's 33rd Controller in 2006 and elected to a second term in 2010. As a member of the powerful Board of Public Works, which will be voting on our contract soon, and Vice Chair of the State Retirement and Pension System, Comptroller Franchot has worked tirelessly to keep Maryland competitive in the knowledge-based economy, create a climate of economic opportunity, and protect Maryland's precious open spaces. He has also been a leading advocate for investing resources in cost-effective green technologies and made an energetic push for electronic tax filing while championing Maryland's paperless payment program, which has saved taxpayers millions in reduced administrative costs and rebates. Comptroller Franchot is also a strong supporter of higher education, voting to invest millions of dollars at Maryland's public colleges and universities. Prior to his election as comptroller, Mr. Franchot was a member of the House of Delegates for 20 years, where he served on the Appropriations Committee and chaired the Transportation and the Environment subcommittees. Comptroller Franchot earned his Bachelor of Arts degree from Amherst College and his Juris Doctorate from Northeastern School of Law. He served in the United States Army from 1968 to 1970. And as many of you know, he is a frequent visitor to the Eastern Shore, and we are especially grateful that he chose us as one of the venues to speak. Please help me in welcoming to the podium Comptroller Franchot.
Guys, this hat is going to fall off, so I'm going to just take it off. I noticed some folks had stethoscopes out there, so we're going to be a little different if we could. And Dr. Vinier, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm always so happy when I'm not introduced as the tax collector. So I was driving down, I thought of my great predecessor who for 40 years was the comptroller, Louis Goldstein, probably the most beloved political figure in recent Maryland history. And a lot of whose employees I still am lucky enough to have at the comptroller's office. But when I have gone around the state from time to time, I've asked folks for stories about Louis. He came from Calvert County on the Western Shore, and he was a unique personality, those of you that might have met him. Anyway, most of the stories are not repeatable, just because that was a different era in politics. But recently I was in St. Mary's County down at the, where the courthouse is in Leonardtown, and the person I was meeting with said, gee, come across the street to the courthouse, I want to introduce you to the head of security for the courthouse. He's a great guy, so I went over and met him. His name was Kenny Lestat, and was in charge of all the security, and he said, you're doing a good job as comptroller. What you probably don't realize is I had a previous career in the Maryland State Police, and my job was to drive Louis Goldstein. So I said, God, this is great, Kenny, tell me a story. And he said, well, Louis was always running late, so he'd come running out of the Treasury building in Annapolis and jump in the car and say, Kenny, I've got to get to Ocean City, I'm behind, you got to get me there on time, step on it. So he said I'd roar out of Annapolis and come down Route 50, and a couple of times he'd lean over and say, I can't be late, get moving. And he said, sure enough, right around here I'd see a red revolving light come up behind the car and pull me over, and I'd have to say to the local sheriff, I'm with the state police, I'm driving the comptroller. And sure enough, Louis would lean over from the back seat and say, officer, I told him to slow down. Kenny said I was always thrown under the bus, but couldn't have been by a nicer person. Anyway, I'm lucky to be your comptroller. Dr. President Vinier gave such a great introduction. I appreciate it. Catherine Poe, your board of directors, is an old and dear friend of mine. This is an outstanding institution. I'm frankly honored to be here. I'm truly grateful for Barbara, your leadership, and Catherine, your leadership, and the members of the board, and the fact that 5 of the greatest counties in the state of Maryland, Kent and Queen Anne's and Talbot and Caroline and Dorchester, can get together and their representatives on the Board of Public Works work collegially for the benefit of this great institution. There's hope. There's hope for Washington and Annapolis. But congratulations to everyone here, especially to the class of 2013. How is it? Well, I have to admit, I have given a lot of speeches across the state. That was pretty sedate. Are you guys happy to be here? Yeah, your parents and family, you guys happy to have them here? Yeah. Well, my job, very briefly, is to give you a few moments of advice, just a few minutes. And your job, if you choose it, is to just pay attention. Of course, it's going to be a race between who finishes their job first, I guess. But hopefully your professors are saying good luck with keeping everybody's attention. But I am truly excited to be here as your Chief Fiscal Officer and a champion for our great state. And I kidded about the stethoscopes. I'm so happy that we've got men and women coming into the allied health field, into nursing, into providing health care for people down the road. I have, every confidence that that particular sector is going to be so important for our state's economy. And to each of the graduates, we have a great state. We're the top-rated school system in the country. We have an educated workforce. We have great education and research labs. We have the Chesapeake Bay, which is known around the country and frankly around the world as one of the greatest natural resources. And we also have the United States of America, which is, I know we get a little bit jaded on this, but it's the greatest country in the world. We don't, because we're not on the outside looking in, understand what a position our great country has right now. Just a quick statistic, 2/3 of all the money that's held in reserves by foreign countries, and this is not rhetoric, this is reality as to what they think, who is strong and who's powerful. 2/3 of all the money held in reserves by governments around the world, they're not held in Japanese yen, they're not held in the Chinese currency, whatever that is, they're not held in the German Deutschmark, they're held in United States dollars. And trust me, as exasperating as it is, sometimes to see our political system operate, and there are obviously frustrations that come with diversity and differences in culture, and obviously we all complain about lawyers all the time, but our country has something that nobody else has, which is an incredible population, incredible size, incredible history of laws, being able to resolve things peacefully. And so appreciate what you're coming into from college. Now, I know many of you have made different journeys to get here. It hasn't been a straight shot for everyone. Some of you have a lot of extra challenges. And I just want to, on behalf of the state of Maryland, say thank you for sticking to it and getting your degree. And now this particular chapter is ending. You've got other chapters that are going to begin. And I hope that each of you now have some confidence in your ability to take a pen and write your own life story. Because what happens with those stories, when they're all put together, they create a mosaic of strength and community health. And I'm delighted to just be here with you this evening, be here with your family and your friends, and just underline how significant and special this event is. I will take a minute and just offer a couple of words of advice. Take it with a grain of salt, because I was an English major at college, and now I'm the state's chief fiscal officer, in charge of all the books. So I didn't have a straight journey either. And I remember a poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson that struck me back many years ago in college, where he said, in quote, "If a man plants himself indomitably on his instincts and there abides, this huge world will come around to him or to her." Since that day, I've never forgotten that. I've also tried to live by that theory, because there are going to be times when your instincts, and you've already experienced it in your own work lives, because some of you have been in the workforce before coming to college, your instincts are going to say, let's go in one direction, and a lot of people around you are going to be saying, no, we think you should go in another direction or an opposite direction. And those are moments that define your true abiding character. I urge you all to be confident in yourselves and who you are, what you believe in, and you will be stunned if you are solid at how the world will often come around in your direction. It suited me in my life and career. In 2006, I had the honor of being elected as your 33rd comptroller, and I was overwhelmingly reelected in 2010. But in 2006, let's be honest, I was somewhat of a lost ball in high grass. Everybody said, you're not going to win, because I was running against the Babe Ruth of Maryland politics, Governor William Donald Schaefer, who was the incumbent comptroller. And during the election, or during the campaign, most of my friends and family, much as they loved me, said, you know, you really should look at the polls. You're only at 8%. It's a three-way race. We strongly recommend that you're not going to be able to generate volunteers and get endorsements and actually have a chance at the polls. Why don't you do the smart thing and just fold your cards and move on to something else? But I didn't particularly agree with that, obviously, and even though, frankly, honestly, my own mother didn't think I was going to win. But I felt strongly about the issues, and I also thought that people would ultimately come around and want a change. And frankly, the doubts of people around me served to motivate me more than they depressed me. And so here I am today as the Comptroller of Maryland. Many of my good friends in the legislature, who I served with for many years, in fact 2 decades, came up to me the day and a couple of days after the election, and the uniform comment was, gee, if I'd known you were going to win, I would have endorsed you. So take that as a little window into politics. It's a lighthearted comment. But you never really know whether things are going to work out unless you actually try. And the fact that you can't win unless you're willing to lose, and that you'll never succeed if you're afraid of failing. In subsequent elections, I've had great luck, but I've also been defeated in some federal races, and that stings. But I remember our greatest president, Abraham Lincoln, lost his first election running for the Illinois State House. And for you basketball players, Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Little known piece of trivia. Beethoven's music teacher once told him he was, quote, a hopeless composer. And Ford Motor Company, think of this, was actually Henry Ford's third business. The first 2 businesses went belly up. Walt Disney was fired by his newspaper editor for lacking creative ideas. It's a great one here. Steven Spielberg was rejected from film school. And the list goes on and on. Failure and adversity is a part of everyone's story, particularly those who achieve greatness. Imagine if some of the people I mentioned had given up. Listen to those around them who suggested they move on. Thank goodness they didn't, because we're all the better off for it. But it isn't just about never giving up on yourself. It's also about sticking to your principles. In my profession, politics, being an independent voice is often a virtue with all of you voters, but it doesn't necessarily make a lot of friends in Annapolis, where Tammany Hall politics is often, you've got to go along to get along. So independence is not as appreciated there. I've opposed inappropriate spending on the Board of Public Works and speaking out against regressive taxes during a weak economic recovery. I particularly spoke out against casino gambling that disproportionately preys off of Marylanders who have a gambling addiction. I've remained independent, raising my hand and challenging leaders of my own party at times when I thought the public interest was at stake and when I thought my party and our state was doing harm to our core values. Some people say that's a political liability, that independence. But, you know, I'd be better served. Often people come to me quietly and say, gee, can't you just be quiet? Sit silent. Don't create disagreement with powerful people. But as Martin Luther King said, that would be betraying his supporters and his followers and the citizens, betraying them through silence. And it would also betray myself. So I know the voters elected me to stand for principles. That's what I try to do every day. So at times when your core values are at stake, you shouldn't worry about how your actions will be received. In those moments, listen to that inner voice and think about how often you just do what other people say. Instead, think about those quiet voices, those instincts that are inside of you. I believe ultimately the huge world will come around to you if you do that. It's true in my business, in politics, where we spend so much time focusing on public opinion polls and not nearly enough time focused on the best interests of the public we were elected to serve. It's also true in every business and in each of our lives. We all get caught up in what others think. We worry about how our decisions will be received. We too often lose sight of who we are, what we believe, and what the direction we're heading in. So, I urge you, don't lose sight of you in an effort to appease them. They'll forgive you. Trust me. I have a million new friends. They'll often, eventually, come around to agreeing with you. But you'll never forgive yourself if you abandon who you are. This is a lesson that so many of us are already living, that so many of you have demonstrated, frankly, by the fact that you're sitting here receiving your degree. Some of you, you're the first in your family to go to college. A lot of you have overcome personal challenges and financial challenges just to make it to Chesapeake College, and more still in order to graduate. So many of you had doubters, friends and classmates, even those you looked up to, who perhaps told you this was never going to happen. Those people in my life who thought I could never win were the same people in your life who thought you could never get a college degree. Imagine if they knew that you were graduating tonight, they'd have supported you all along. But here you are. You planted yourselves dominantly on this goal. You've brought everyone around to it. So don't ever forget the questions you've answered, the doubts you've dispelled, the fortune tellers in your life who you've now proven wrong. When you see justice, injustice, or inequality, don't ever be afraid to speak up, speak out, even if it means challenging relationships that you value. When you see wrong, don't hesitate to right it, even if you ruffle a few feathers along the way. Above all, don't be afraid to take risks and to fail. Don't ever let no be the end of the conversation. Just make it the motivation you need to get to a yes. As long as you plant yourself indomitably on your instincts, accept the consequences that come with these decisions, the whole world, the whole intimidating, huge world will come around to you. So as you continue on to the next chapter in your personal story and write your place in Maryland's history and our country's story, be true to yourself. Believe me, this is the key if you take anything away from tonight. You might not always win, but you can't lose if you are yourself. Thank you to all the parents and siblings and friends who were part of the journey. Thank you to the faculty here, to the Board of Trustees, to Catherine Poe, President Vinier, Vice President Barber, for having me. Congratulations on your graduation. Best of luck with the limitless possibilities that lie ahead. Thank you all very much.
Good evening, graduates, soon to be, their family, and their friends. Tonight, it is my great honor to give the presentation of the John T. Harrison Award. John T. Harrison was a Talbot County member of Chesapeake College's founding Board of Trustees. The college community is indebted to him for his establishment prior to the first commencement of the John T. Harrison Award, which is given each year to a student who has demonstrated the highest performance in academics, leadership, and overall contributions to the college and the community. The 50th recipient of the John T. Harrison Award embodies all the qualities that we have come to expect from our recipients with regard to academic achievement. Instructors say this year's winner, who is also our outstanding graduate in liberal arts and sciences, has a thirst for knowledge as well as a desire to use that knowledge to help others. She has also taken full advantage of the honors program, including the completion of honors learning contracts in a number of courses. Our winner has been a tutor, a leader in the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, a stagehand for the Peak Players, and a member of the Beacon Literary Journal Editorial Committee. This year's winner was nominated for this award by a wide range of faculty and staff from across this campus, and she will continue her education at McDaniel College. At this time, I wish to call to the podium Amanda Haley Morgan, the 2013 John T. Harrison Award winner. And we get to pose for a picture. And shake hands. And now, I don't know where the photographer is, but we're supposed to pose. Oh, there he goes. Okay.
Thank you. I didn't realize when I enrolled at Chesapeake 3 years ago that I was embarking on such an incredible journey. My goal was simply to complete the AA degree that I had started many years earlier. I never imagined that as a part-time student in my 40s, I could have the complete college experience I have once dreamed of. But I have. And since my experience says as much about Chesapeake as it does about me, I would like to share some of it with you. One of the great things about Chesapeake is that students can customize their education to suit their needs and interests. I'm a naturally curious person, so my objective was to study a variety of subjects. I took courses in anthropology, astronomy, finance, literature, music, and philosophy. I also took math, but only because they made me. I participated in many of the extracurricular activities at Chesapeake. I hiked Maryland Heights with the Outdoors Club, ushered for the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra, worked backstage on a Peak Players production, and had lunch with the British debaters. I served on the editorial committee for the Beacon, was an officer for Phi Theta Kappa, and am currently secretary for the Maryland Higher Education Commission's Student Advisory Council. Not satisfied with just being a student at Chesapeake, I joined the staff. Many thanks to B.J. Mills, who recruited me to do work study in the LRC my first semester. Since then, I have been a library aide, writing tutor, embedded English tutor, administrative assistant, and IT assistant. As you can see, my experience at Chesapeake has not been that of the typical part-time adult student. For the past 3 years, Chesapeake has been my second home and my extended family, and I'm going to miss being part of this community. There are a few people that I especially want to mention. First, Professor Dave Harper. I had very little confidence when I started at Chesapeake. My previous attempts at college had failed, largely due to undiagnosed ADD. In addition, like many students, I was overwhelmed my first semester. I could have easily slipped through the cracks. But Professor Harper took the time to get to know a little about me and my academic aspirations, and his confidence in my abilities gave me the courage to persevere. When he invited me to apply to the Honor Scholar Program, I wasn't sure that I was up to the challenge. But I took a leap of faith, and I'm glad I did. I learned so much more working with my honors professors than I ever could have learned from a textbook. I'd like to thank those professors who so graciously agreed to honors contracts. I never looked forward to any class as much as I looked forward to my weekly meetings with Professor Thomas, Professor Hearn, and Dr. Cash. Professor Thomas introduced me to the objectives and aesthetics of classical music, and I attended performances by the Annapolis, Baltimore, Maryland, and Midshore Symphony Orchestras. Professor Hearn challenged me to examine my political ideologies, always in good humor, and I have to admit that one or two didn't stand up under scrutiny. Dr. Cash and I discussed philosophy as well as the purpose and value of a true liberal arts education. More than anyone, Dr. Cash appreciated and encouraged my pursuit of education for its own sake rather than as a means to a job. Finally, I want to thank Chandra Jalati-Garidi, Dean of Learning Resources, and Melina Baer, Director of Academic Support, for the many opportunities they provided me and for keeping me employed every semester. Not only as an employee, but as a student who has used many of the services housed in the LRC, I can say that the LRC is the most student-friendly building on campus. Dean Chandra, Melina, and all of the folks in the different LRC departments truly put students first, and I am proud to have been a part of this dedicated team. There are many other people I would like to thank, but time does not permit. Just know that if you worked with me, had a class with me, or if you didn't roll your eyes when I said I was majoring in philosophy, then you contributed to the amazing experience I have had at Chesapeake College. Thank you.
Haley, I would like to add my congratulations to you for all of your achievements at Chesapeake, including my class, and your selection as this year's Harrison Award winner. And now for the moment you've been waiting for, the conferral of degrees. Members of the audience are welcome to take photos from their seats, but we do need to ask that you not block the aisles or area in front of the stage so that the graduates have easy access to the stage. Photographs of every graduate receiving his or her diploma will be available. We appreciate your understanding. Will the graduates of the class of 2013 please rise? Dr. Viniar, before I present the candidates for graduation, I would like once again to acknowledge our outstanding Chesapeake faculty. Would the faculty please stand and be recognized? And now, Dr. Viniar, I have the pleasure of presenting to you those individuals who, by the recommendation of the faculty and the Board of Trustees, have completed all of the requirements for certificates. Everybody else can sit down. Will the candidates for certificates please rise? Amber Ann Bickerton, honors with distinction. Clarice Renee Brooks. Derek Gerard Brummel, Jr. Amanda Lynn Clevenger. Ashley Elizabeth Cross, with honors. Kathleen Gwynn Frazier. Kyle Eugene Gadsden. Sherry Lynn Good, with honors. Melissa Lynn Hampton. Philip Michael Harris. Jimmy James Jenkins. Shannon Dale Johnson, honors with distinction. Hillary Brooke Reedy. Haley Marie Sard. Will the candidates for the associate degree please rise? Dr. Viniar, I have the pleasure of presenting to you those individuals in the official graduate record who, by recommendation of the faculty and the approval of the Board of Trustees, have completed all of the requirements for the associate degree in arts, associate of science, associate of arts in teaching, and the associate of applied science. The candidates may be seated. Jared Nicholas Aaron. Deja Angelique Acree. Rhonda Denise Adams. Anthony David Anderson. Jennifer Lee Andrews. Laura Nicole Bamberi. Ashley Nicole Beatty, honors with distinction. Ashley Marie Beckett. Brittany Diana Bennett. Clarissa Dawn Blake. Anthony Eric Bordell, honors with distinction. Michael Joseph Bomi. Mary Lynn Bowen, honors with distinction. Laura and Lauren Ann Brelia. Amy Renee Brittingham. Connor James Brogdon. Jacob Daniel Cannon, honors with distinction. Gabriella N. Chauvin, with honors. Denver Morgan Clyde. Brooke Ann Coppage. Tynell DeRyan Copper. William Michael Crockett. Carol Lee Crossan, honors with distinction. Richard Eric Cutter. Kyle Ross Dahmer. Amanda Lee Daniels. Corbin John Davis, honors with distinction. Morgan Lee Davis, honors with distinction, outstanding student, early childhood education. Rance Taylor Day. Tara Renee Deal. Shamise Camille Dill, honors with distinction. Troy J. Dion. Lisa Marie Dixon, honors with distinction, outstanding student, business management technology. Christopher Lloyd Dixon. Erin Stacy Dodge. Catherine L. Dodge. Megan Riley Durkee. Hannah Joyce Doolin. Thomas Reed Eliason. with honors. Thomas is also a graduate of our honors program, and I'm going to give him a medallion. If I can find it. There's more down there. Maybe. Or maybe not.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Douglas J. Ellsworth, Jr. Douglas Keith Fairman. Jack Fisher, Jr., honors with distinction. Sarah Denise Fowler. Virginia Jean Galis, honors with distinction, outstanding student, business administration. Tamara R. Garcia with honors. Kimberly Dawn Gieman, honors with distinction. Katrina Helen Gastoli. Brittany Paige Gervin. Mona Lisa Githomi. And I'd just like to mention that Mona Lisa is the first graduate from our environmental sciences program. Melanie Virginia Good. Hannah Ann Gao with honors, outstanding student, teacher education, elementary education, and also a graduate of the honors program. You can find yours. Congratulations. Tamirda Shantaine Green. Tabitha Lee Gross, honors with distinction, also a graduate of our honors program. Diego Alberto Guzman Hernandez. Jill Ann Hagedorn. Ashley Nicole Hall. Patrice Janelle Harms. Rakeem Dwayne Harris. James Lawrence Scholler Hevelau with honors. James Edward Hikus, Jr. Linda Marie Hendrickson. Shannon Marie Henry. Alicia Marie Heron. Morgan Nicole Hemighafer. Teresa Amber Nicole Hooper, honors with distinction. Kendall N. Hutchison. Carlson Boyer Johnson, Jr. Kiara Shanae Johnson. Casey Allen Joseph, honors with distinction. Chelsea Danielle Cahoe. Brandon Tyler Kimbles. Julia Marie King. Megan Elaine King. Dana Elizabeth Ladner. Margaret Alfreda Lake. Amanda Heather Langdon. Courtney Elise Lecomte. Michelle Dawn Lee. Erin Jean Light. Shannon Renee Lippert. Joseph Cade Luby. Dylan Radford Lyles with honors. Deborah Carol MacArthur with honors. Jessica J. Martinek. Justin D. May. Jamari Edwin Mayfield. Jordan Elizabeth Mayoral. Margaret Elizabeth McConnell, another graduate of our honors program. I think this is not yours, but you can trade it in later. Thank you. Alyssa Lynn McCormick with honors. Ryan Robert McCulley. Stephanie Lee McGuigan. Caitlin Danielle Mendez. Amanda Haley Morgan, honors with distinction, outstanding student, liberal arts and sciences, and a graduate of our honors program. Tina Marie Morris. Renee Lynn Murphy. Cassie Diane Nelson with honors. Amy Caroline Nespor. Heather Elizabeth Nordhoff. Dawn Marie Norris. Gregory Lee North. Victoria Ann Crane North. Myra Olivia Newton. Elizabeth Marie O'Hara. Courtney Michelle Parks. Cody Logan Paul, honors with distinction, outstanding student accounting. Jacqueline Leonard Payne. Deneen Conley Perrin. April Ruth Plummer. Katara M. Presley. Sarah Elizabeth Price. Brittany Lee Putnam. Caitlin Marie Quinton. David William Reese. Donald Stewart Reeser. Monica I. Raymanak. Tiffany Antoinette Ricks. Scotty Dale Riddle with honors. Haley Marie Robbins. Erin Elizabeth Rodland. Cindy Cahall Rosbach, honors with distinction, outstanding student, human services, mental health. Emily Cahall Rosbach, honors with distinction, outstanding student, criminal justice. Maureen Mary Rubino. Shelby Elizabeth Ruff. Nathan Edward Russ. Brittany Rose Russell. Akani Sean Salako was a member of our Maryland academic, all Maryland academic team. Jacqueline Sanchez. Brooke Ashlyn Seabreeze. Zita LaVey Seals with honors. Congratulations. Heather Nicole Shaw. Kimberly Ann Short. Mariah Odessa Lee Shull. Wendy Jo Simpson. Dolly Ann Legg Smith. Jasmine Marie Smith, honors with distinction. Rose Marie Smith. Pamela Marie Snedden. Who is this person? Casey Abigail Sanzoni. Henry W. Sparks. Donna Marie Spence. Crystal Helen Spearing with honors. Frederick Carroll Stanfield, Jr. Kristen Lee Starkey. Logan Henry Stewart. Ashley Lynn Sullivan. Daniel Joseph Swafford, Jr. Janelle Renee Thomas. Vera Hollis Todd, honors with distinction. Lily Townsend, with honors. Crystal Nicole Travers. Bartley Ann Trumbull. Charles E. Tucker. Mary Elizabeth Vandermark. Alicia Lynn Van Zant. Kristen Louise Vaneski, honors with distinction. Denise Maureen Walls. Brian Lee Walterhofer. Amanda K. Ward. Abigail L. Weiss. Melissa Lynn Whippert. Shelby Marie Wheatley, with honors. Tina Wheeler, honors with distinction. Kelly Catherine Willie, honors with distinction. Tiffany Rochelle Willie. Marie Elizabeth Wilson. Patricia Walter Windsor. Kimberly Dawn Wood. Mary Bianca Wolford, honors with distinction. Emma Carolyn Zanetti. Crystal Marie Zornak.
Will all certificate and degree candidates please rise? By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Chesapeake College, I confer upon you the certificates, degrees of Associate of Arts, Associate of Science, Associate of Arts in Teaching, and Associate of Applied Science, with all the attendant rights and responsibilities. You are now official graduates of Chesapeake College. As a symbol of your new status, you may move your tassels from the right to the left. Congratulations. Abraham Lincoln once said, "I may walk slow, but I never walk back." It does not matter how long it took you to get to this moment. What matters is that this is the first step in your journey forward. Some of you know exactly the route you will be taking. Others are still mapping it out. Life doesn't come with GPS, but it offers you some of the same choices. Are you in a hurry? Do you have time for the scenic byway? Are you willing to pay a toll? The education you have received here has opened new paths and given you the skills to navigate. You can walk at your own pace, and you should always take the best of who you are with you, but you never have to walk back. Again, congratulations and best wishes for your continued success. Associate Professor John Haas, Chair of Chesapeake's Faculty Assembly, will now read the benediction. Following the benediction and the recessional, please join us at a reception for our graduates, family, and friends at the Caroline College Center. We would appreciate it if all guests would remain in their place and standing until the academic recession has been completed. Please rise.
Eternal light, shine into our hearts. Eternal goodness, deliver us from evil. Eternal power, be our support. Eternal wisdom, scatter the darkness of our ignorance. Eternal pity, have mercy on us. So that with our heart and mind and soul and strength, we may seek the wisdom, goodness, and strength to make this world a better place. Amen.